Wow. If none of you know me personally, it's a good thing that you've brought children here, because I often not only come with an amazing tribe, I also come with words that are sentence enhancing. And here's the thing, everybody over here to my left, you are old enough now for me. I want to start off by thanking Mary, one of the loveliest human beings that I've met in my recent life. And she's told a story when I was being followed by the lovely lady with the other blue hat down the hallway, and she said, "Bear, do you remember what you did the day you called me and said, we'd like to give you an honorary doctorate degree?" Well, after I spit out my Caesar salad, the phone went quiet. Kind of like how I'm going to go quiet right now as I stare at all of you. This is supposed to be serious, people. I said, "Mary, I don't quite understand what you're saying to me." And she said, "Mandy, you're what the world needs more of. And you too are one of the most amazing people that I've met." And I said, "Mary, you don't understand. People don't do this for people like me." Now, you've all realized that I'm a little bit smart and a lot funny. But Mary, thank you for believing in me and believing in the diversity of hard work. I left home with a dirty hockey bag full of everything I had. True story. I had a little bit of ambition, and as you can see, a lot of personality, which is what I want to talk to you about today. I also want to give a great big friggin' hug to all my caricatures in my Toronto office and my US office that are watching right now eating very fatty foods. I love all you, and I thank you for following me in this quest to fit in to the academic world. When I left home, you need to understand something. Growing up in Yarmouth, Nova Scotia, my father was a lobster fisherman. He's a handsome dude over there with a tie on. You can't miss him. I always send him a little tree with an apple falling off it, and he loves it every time. And then I have my mom sitting further down the line, who's also one of my biggest heroes in life. And I want to tell you, you might say, why are they your heroes other than the fact that they decided to make love one night? Well, there was so much love that night, there was 2 of us that came out. Stand up, gatekeeper. Yep, that's right, 2 of us. The gatekeeper now is my protector at Freshco. If you want to get to me, you better have a good story. I want to talk to you about what autonomy means to me. Those 2 people, other than the young man that I shared an apartment with for 9 months, never even knew that I left home after 3 weeks. I was always on the go. I was very athletic, and I had many jobs. I was part of the 4-H program, which is so undervalued, and it's next on my list. They didn't know I'd left home. So when she called me, she says, "Mandy, where are you right now?" And I said, "Ma, I'm gone." Well, that's great, dear. That's great. She says, just let your mother know when you're coming home again. Will do. What you guys don't know is that I used to work for free at night in this very city for contractors that would teach me what I needed to know. They'd hang up the phone on me. That was before we had smartphones, kids. And I'd call them back. I actually think they only answered because I was starting to piss them off. Through that, I did a job for a local family here that was very wealthy that brought in exotic hardwoods. I was also doing that job for free until the son of a very wealthy man looked at me and said, you are the only one, Rennehan, that shows up with a smile, ambition, and looks like you know what you're doing. He said, can you do this job? And this is what I always say. Yes, but I'm going to need your credit card. And he looked at me kind of like how I'm looking at you right now. And he said, I cannot believe that I'm going to give you my credit card, but I'm going to. Fast forward 2 weeks later, I gathered anybody that I could find with a heartbeat. And I figured it out. Not only did I do it, I did it 2 days early, and it was perfect. And when he showed up, there was a tear in his eye, half because he was frightened and half because he was so excited. And we hugged, and he said, Rennehan, you're very special. And he not only paid me, he paid me double. And my name spread across this city like a bad fart. Just so you know, youngies, like a wildfire is politically incorrect. It's a fart. Something that even my friend Mary didn't know, and part of my story, and probably a lot of what you'll never read about me, was that I was always very athletic growing up. I had a very athletic family. We loved sports. It was our bond. That and Big 8 and no-name chips on Saturday night. You're smiling because you all did it. You know you did. But in grade 4, 5, and 6, Mandy Rennehan was pulled out of class and put in the special class. He was a nice man. Nice trim beard. He smelled good too. I never really understood why I was being pulled out of class, but here was the thing. There was a part of me that really didn't care. But why I was being pulled out of class is because I was dyslexic. Nobody knew what that was back then. They thought that I was slow. 7 years ago, that same handsome man sent me an email. And he said, Mandy, I always knew you were brilliant. I just didn't know how to tell you. This story goes to the fact that everybody in this world is different. They learn differently. It doesn't make them something that should not be cheered on. I've become Canada and the Eastern United States' top entrepreneur. I won the Atlantic Canada's most admired CEO for Canada 2 months ago with a grade 12 education. Oh, it gets better. And last week in Fredericton, they picked 50 top CEOs, and then they picked one shining star. When they picked me, the crowd went crazy. A lot of the young millennials and the Gen Zs, because that night I did use my sentence-enhancing words, rallied to me and thanked me for being different and giving them hope. One young lady came up to me and said, "Mandy, when I grow up, I want to be like you." And I said, "Sweetie, you can't right now." And she said, "Why?" And I said, "You need to put on 63 pounds. I'm here to tell you something that you may not want to hear. Under this robe, I'm much smaller. Under this robe, I bear many scars. I will go back to my parents and the word autonomy. They allowed me to be the absolute different lunatic that I was. They didn't know what to do with me, so they let me be. I tripped, I fell, I've been robbed, I've been blackmailed, you name it, it has happened to me. I am an East Coaster that didn't even have a garden salad until I was 23. How about that for life experience 102? The autonomy of my parents allowing me to literally come half of a cent from killing myself trying to succeed, I've become what Mary in the Mount have picked today. I've become the blue-collar CEO of not just Canada, but North America. And I am an absolute powerhouse, not only in the trades, but in every boardroom that you can find. I am bridging the gap between the blue and the white collars, and this is what was said to me the other day. "Mandy, why don't we just change the blue collar to a golden collar?" Look at my face while I circle the room. No. The chairs that you sit in, the acoustics that you're hearing me in, the absolute clothing that you chose today, the shower that you took, the comb you used, the car you got in, the flight that you got off of, the mechanic that you drove by today, the person that was serving you coffee, are all the reasons why you are sitting where you are today. Without the blue-collar industry, you would not function as a human being. You would be standing here with what God gave you, trying to cover up your parts, because there'd be nothing. We have a systemic trade shortage in Canada. It is not coming. It's been here for 15 years. And why, might you ask? Did I ever tell you how much I love standing here in this pretty robe? You are my new audience. Hierarchy. And some of the people sitting in this room that have children graduating from university are going to shake your heads when I say what I'm going to say next. We've loved our kids so much, we've crippled our economy. The way that you were treated as a blue-collar, not professional, has framed why our trade schools are half empty. Because nobody wanted their child to be treated the way they were. That handsome man up there with a tie I watched work tirelessly for 38 years is a legend in the lobster fishing industry. Just about killed himself. And to all the young people, Gary Rennehan was a legend. To his peers, he was a lobster fisherman. One day over an alcoholic beverage is a daughter and a father due on the East Coast. He looked at me and he said, "Mandy, thank you." And I said, "Are you going to get emotional on me?" And he said, "Yes. Since you've become my daughter, people hold the door open for me. People call me Mr. Rennehan. People respect me." The lesson that I would like to send to you young pups today: I'm kind of like the hamburger in between two buns. I'm not a millennial, but I'm not a baby boomer. Everybody loves a hamburger that's meat or a hamburger that's plant-based. Isn't that not correct? I'd like to leave you with something today so that you guys understand that you've only done the first leg. And I would like to take this time to tell you how proud I am, but not because you're walking out of here with a diploma. Because you were consistent enough and committed enough to be here. And that's the absolute framing of what success really is. It's not success, it's consistency. Consistently, I was pounded into the ground with barriers. But because I loved those two little people over there more than I loved myself, I did it. And I continue to do it. Personality is something that's very, very, very underrated in our society today. If you were to ask me how I've made my millions, I would have to tell you that, yes, I build. Yes, I create. Yes, I can design. And yes, I build people. But what made me the difference? When I sat in San Francisco 23 years ago in front of what they would call corporate America, with a pair of nasty pants from Reedman's on, my secretary in San Francisco was a Newfoundlander, don't even get me started. On my way to the boardroom, Reedman's let me down. This is a true story. The hems fell out of my pants, both of them. I had a young fellow with a headset on saying, "Mandy, Canada, you got 7 minutes." Well, within those 7 minutes, my newfie ran into the office, and like any innovator, she grabbed a stapler. When I realized, when I walked into that room, I wasn't just a force in trades. I was a powerhouse for change. And what everybody said, no little East Coaster could do. And that 7 minutes turned into an hour. And the big cheese that everybody feared, looking over the San Francisco Bridge, looked at me and said, "Who in the hell are you? Come to my house for dinner tonight. Meet my wife and my 2 daughters." And I looked back at him and I said, "Even my stapled pants?" He said, "Yes, and that person that's with you that I can't understand a word they're saying." In closing, I would like to explain the one thing that's made me different from anyone else in the world that I've met, and it's intent. My intent to give my parents a better life led me to a place that I'll never, ever forget. The love for me, representing an industry that's been treated like second-class citizens for most of their life and still do, make me be better. I'm redefining the color blue and changing the answer to what do you want to be when you grow up. And I want to let you all know right now you might have a piece of paper, but you might come to my side of the tracks. And there will be nothing more sexy, more rewarding, more lucrative than maintaining the Canada that's been built by all the people that I want to give a round of applause to, while building the Canada that we want tomorrow. We are Atlantic Canadians. We need to be the first to govern the ethics behind this movement in a big way. It needs to happen now. Mary, I didn't swear once. And I also want to say, before I leave today, we're different here. I've made millions being just an East Coaster. Because of my heart, the love I have, and the ability to make people laugh while I'm inducing change. Personality is what's going to separate you from the rest of the pack. When somebody holds out their hand to shake it, give them a slap on the back. I'm being funny. I'm saying that today millennials and Gen Zs have been given the spoiled kid thing. And I want to tell you right now, I love all of your guys' guts. Because what you need more than anything is somebody like me with lots of beautiful scars to just open up the door and you need to pass through it. But the personality of who you are is what's going to take you to a place that will induce more change. Please don't stop smiling. Please don't stop talking to each other. Please do not let social media take over the human bond that's needed for us to remain us. And with that, I'm out of here.